Okay, here we go. Awesome. What I was saying to everybody is that as you come on, just kind of mute your phone. But I was saying that I'm going to share with you guys the rebranding, and I at first I was kind of like, and we had all the elites kind of went back and forth and hemmed and hawed about it, and about, you know, whether they liked it or whether they didn't like it. And so I'll tell you what got me with it. And let me pull it up while we're talking so that y'all can see this. Share screen. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Can you guys, Chris, can you guys see that okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So at first I was a little, he's changed the logo of the wording, and let me blow this up so you guys, can you see it a little bit bigger now?
Yes.
Is it better? Okay. So there's, yeah, you can see it, Mike. Okay, good. There's a new branding that's happening. I will post the video on our different social media sites, and there's an awesome video that Ryan does. He talks about why the rebranding. I'll tell you what really got me. I won a contest. Has it been four years ago? 4 years ago, we had a contest to name the Life Vantage logo, which you all know now before as Gene, right? So the guy that's on my shirt, this guy right here. Chris, what is it again? What did he call it?
The karate kicking Asian guy.
That's what Brandon Cunningham called it. You guys will hear that on the video. It's kind of funny. But they decided to change the brand, and I won the contest of naming Gene about 4 years ago. We won, Lisa and I won all expenses paid trip to convention and hotel, and it was just awesome. But at first I was like, when they said they were going to change it and brand it, but what really got me, and you can watch this in the video, is Ryan talked about, and we already know the guy's a genius, but what he talked about was Coca-Cola. And he showed different year after year after year where Coca-Cola changed their branding. And most of the companies, and you can look, when you image Facebook or when you image Apple, of course, Apple always, you see the Apple, but now there's different, there's different stuff for different companies. And this is going to be the new jersey for the Life Vantage. You can see the I and the F are touching. The V is a little bit bigger. It's a contrasting color. I'm not going to go too much into it. Here's the new logo itself. Let me see if I can bring another one up. Okay, yeah. Let me just blow it up just a little bit so you can see it. It's a helix, and you guys can see it. It's from the helix in our jeans. You'll get to hear the significance of it when you kind of look at the video and watch it. I'm going to post it, online. If you don't get it, you can just text me or email me, and I will be glad to send you over the video. It's awesome. I'm just going to say that. Chris, do you want to comment on it real quick? Just since you've looked at it, do you want to comment on it real quick before we get started?
No, I like it because it actually starts speaking to what we do at Life Vantage, and he explained it in the video, and it has, something that, we have a symbol now for who we are. Yeah. And it looked really sweet on the Jeep when they showed like the big logo on the Jeep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so when I get my new Jeep, I'll have the new logo, and you guys will all have the old one. So
I don't have any on mine yet, so I'm getting ready to get it put on. So I think I'm going to go with the new one. But yeah, okay, awesome. Because one of the things that makes us unique is that we're at the forefront of nutrigenomics, and this symbol kind of shows that from that thing. So I'm going to pull up. Chris, can you see the law of consistency now?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, Lisa and I actually, I don't know why she's so far away. It's like she can't get close enough so y'all can see both of us. So, I've been taking this course. Actually, she's been listening with me now every week. Y'all saw Janice,
the first one.
right? And Janice taught last week, and so we're going to all teach back and forth. But guys, I'm just telling you, there's a reason why we separate this time for you guys every week. Lisa got home at 8. I got home, at like 7:30. So we just know how much of an impact it's made on our lives and our business, and it's very pertinent. And I'm just gonna, I will send you. We can download this. I've already downloaded it. I can send this to you, and you guys can have it on your own. And I may start putting it online ahead of time so that you guys have it. We're allowed to do that. We're allowed to do that. Yes. But one of the first things that John talked about was the law of. If you want to jump in, just jump in. The law of consistency. Okay. And one of the things I really liked about what John said about consistency was, and you can fill in the first 2 blanks. He said, motivation gets you going, or discipline, discipline keeps you growing, or consistency keeps you growing. Okay, the word consistency. So, and then he said, all paths to success have consistency in those. And it was funny what I really liked about it. He said, if you had somebody tell you something they really liked about you in business, and you could probably write down, he said, you could probably write down 20 words, and consistency would not be one of the words that you would want someone to say you are. But what he said is he said, especially in business, consistency is what allows people to grow. Can you have your computer real quick? I got some notes I'm going to read from your notes part. But one of the things he said is, he said, consistency establishes your reputation. And then here's what John said. And guys, think about this for a second. He said, my reputation is my introduction is my reputation. Who I am is my reputation. Hey, somebody's not muted. I can't see who's not muted. So if you just came on, if you could mute, that would be very, very helpful. Hi, Susan. I just saw you when I was scrolling down. How are you? So think about that. And then he said, oh, okay, I wanted to read this to you guys. He said, whatever I'm doing, think about this. Whatever I'm doing, whenever I join a business, I'm in love with what I'm doing. Okay, at that time. And I stay in love with it. He said, consistency is the number one key to success. And he said, consistency isn't sexy or pretty, but it marks a leader. Okay. He said, people aren't good at business because, now guys, think about this really closely. He said, it's not because they don't have meetings to go to. It's not because they don't have the right tools or the right support. It's not because they're not good at the business or they don't know what to do. He said, it's because they aren't consistent. And so he said, oh, and then he said this, and then I'm going to let Lisa take the next couple. He said, if you've got a pen, you can write this down. He said, it's not how you jump, it's how straight you walk.
It's not how high you jump.
Oh, it's not how high you jump, but how straight you walk when you come down. He said, compounding interest. Oh, here's what John said. He said, I've been doing this for years. He said, I never want to stop doing this. He said, I've been compounding interest off consistency of years and years and years of leadership. So I think we're at the only way you can beat blank. Okay. I'm going to let Lisa take a couple here, you guys.
So number 2 was consistency is a prerequisite to excellence. And the only way you can be excellent is consistency. And excellence is actually what sets you apart. It sets you apart from the world. It sets you apart from other distributors. It sets you apart from everything and everyone. Consistency actually, no, it sets you apart, yeah. Consistency establishes your reputation. And that's where he was talking about, he doesn't need, John Maxwell says he doesn't need an introduction. It's because his reputation precedes him. His reputation precedes him because he's been consistent. He's done 1,200, meetings, or 12,000 meetings after meeting after meeting. That's why he's so good at it. He also used the analogy of chopping down a tree. It's okay. It goes with it. He says, you come, you pick up an axe, you hit a tree 5 times and put the axe down.
Called the rule of 5.
The next day, you come back, you pick up the axe, you hit that tree 5 times. You put it down. Day after day after day, you keep going back, hitting the tree 5 times. If you're consistent at hitting that same tree in the same spot, sooner or later it's going to fall. That's the consistency. But unfortunately, people get bored. They think what they're doing is not working. They give up. They move to another tree. They start hitting that tree. Then that tree doesn't go down. They think, well, maybe that was the wrong tree after all, too. They move to another tree. And all it leaves you is a bunch of bruised trees, he says. None of them ever fall. And people think, oh, gee, well, this isn't working. Well, it's because they didn't stick with the same tree consistently time after time.
And where that comes from is he said that comes from, and if you guys look down where it says consistency provides security to others. So think about this. I said this to my kids today at practice. A lot of you know this, but I'm coaching now, and it's because of this opportunity that I'm able to do this. And what I've learned is that I told the kids today, I said, look, if you are consistent and you want what somebody else has, and they see that consistency in you, then they're going to do what you do. Okay. And so let's go on down. So the 4th one, it says consistency reinforces your vision and your values. Okay. It reinforces your vision and your values. So if you have a vision of being a Pro 3 or a Pro 4 or a Pro 5
Pro 12
or a Pro 12, like Brandon and I talk about, you will establish that through the values of consistency, consistently following up with people. There's a lot of people, we were talking about this today. There's a lot of people who've been in the business for a long time. They still haven't done a launch call. They still haven't done 3 launch calls. I just want to say this because Lisa did this week. She did her first launch call, and she had Brandon did the call for her, and she had 13 guests on the launch call. Now she's in the process of following up with those people, and she has another launch call scheduled on Monday and one scheduled for the following Monday.
Yep.
So it says people continue, and here's the finisher of it. It's the next dot on your list there. It says people continue to do what people continue to see. So if people see you going to meetings, if, Chris, I'm going to use Chris because he's been such a great example of somebody who's knocking the tree down with an axe and not giving up and not quitting. And he just said, hey, I'm going to go into the Amish community and I'm just going to start talking to people. And so he started knocking on doors and he's making appointments with people because look, and him and I've had this conversation. This is going to happen with or without us. I know somebody asked this on Facebook the other day. Do you want to be a part of something that people need or part of something that people want? Okay. And I shared this with Brandon. We are part of the 1% of what people need. Okay. But people need money. A lot of people will say they need a cell phone. Sometimes they wish they didn't have one. But I think those of you that are involved in LifeVantage are part of the 1% because you know that we have something that people need. And I want to be a part of what people need. A lot of people will not be consistent and leave and change and go on to the next thing and do like what Lisa just said. They'll go knock another tree with a baseball bat and not even come close to knocking the tree down. And then they'll move on and start something different. And they'll chop a little bit with the axe, and then they'll go knock the base with the baseball bat, and then they'll move on to the next tree. And like she said, after a while, you just have a lot of scarred trees. Mm-hmm. So it says, you want to read this one?
Long-term consistency always trumps short-term intensity. And sticking with that tree and the axe analogy, really it's the day after day, the persistence, the consistency that tree eventually falls, as opposed to going gung-ho, hitting that tree 10, 15, 20 times, but then quitting because there was no consistency. So
yeah, he said this. He said, if you
are persistent, you will get it. But if you are consistent, you will keep it.
So think about that. As you go through this business, if you want to keep this bit, you have to be consistent. Whether you're at the rank you want to be, you're not at, you haven't got started. It's really about taking daily steps to be consistent. And he said this. He said when everything that he does is that what was the things he said he does? Did you write that down?
Mm-hmm. Every single day, he reads, he thinks, he files, he asks questions, and he writes. He reads, he thinks, files, asks questions, and writes. Read, think, file, ask questions, and write.
And so
daily.
he said if he's on vacation, he said, "Hey John, what do you do when you're on vacation?" He said, "I read, think, file, ask questions, and write." He said, "Well, John, what do you do at Christmas time?" He said,
"I read, think, file, ask questions, and write."
So he said, and I'm more excited at 69 to be doing something and loving what I'm doing. And they always ask him, "Do you want to go back, John? Do you want to go back in your 40s and 50s, or your 30s?" And he said, "No, I love being 69. And so let's go on to the next one. He said, I love this. He said, consistency compounds. And that's a little bit of where the story of the tree comes into consistency. So, and then he says,
he asks you 3 questions.
He asks you 3 questions. I'm going to let Lisa take this.
Number 1, do you know what you need to improve within yourself? Choices and abilities.
Choices and abilities.
Mm-hmm. Meaning, you've got choices to make. What choices are you going to do to improve yourself? What abilities do you already maintain? What, God-given talents do you have that you can work on improving and becoming excellent through, going back to the only way to be excellent is through consistency, right? And then the second question was, do you know how to improve it? And again, that's the daily action. We talk about daily follow-ups, doing a little bit every single day, just being consistent, whether it's Christmas or vacation time, you still be consistent and you take daily action.
And then he said, I wrote this down. He said, you don't get an award for consistency in the first week.
No.
He said, why do we always have to be giving an award for this and for that? He said, it's based on egos. Oh, and then he used this. This was great. He used a song by Debbie Boone. Okay. And he said, the Debbie Boone, you light up my life, or Debbie Boone. No, Debbie Boone. He said, she made a song called You Light Up My Life. And he said, first time he listened to it, he loved it. Second time he loved it. Third time he loved it. Fourth time he liked it. And then he finally said, Doesn't she have another song? He said, can't she just, change the words?
The point was anybody could be good once.
Yes. And so, I always think back to our area was Milli Vanilli when, they had one song, or what was Vanilla Ice? It had one or two songs that were, that and that was it. So,
and then the third question was, do you know why you want to keep improving? What is your why? And that's what keeps you in the game. It's your motivation to be consistent. If you know why you're doing what you're doing, you're going to press through. You're going to overcome those obstacles and hurdles, and you're going to become excellent. You're going to have that consistency that'll provide security to others.
He said no one ever quit their way to the top. No one ever jumped from company to company to company to company and was successful. And he said, success and consistency is never built on hype. He goes, and this is what he said. It was awesome. He said, people go to the conventions and they're still stuck on the convention. They get real excited. Just like I can tell you guys this. It doesn't matter how much of a sacrifice you make to go to convention this year. You get to spend 4 hours with John Maxwell. And I'll just tell you, it's a once that you will never get that opportunity again in that setting. Not for $50. For 4 hours, he normally charges like $1,000 to spend 4 hours with him. Okay. So, and then there was a couple key takeaways at the end. You guys can see those. Most people don't do well in business because they lack consistency. Okay. The only way you can become excellent is through consistency, because no one is good the first time. And you just heard Lisa say that, I've got a lot of kids out for the track team this year that are first time kids, but they're phenomenal. But I keep telling them, and I used a verbiage that Brandon used a couple weeks ago that I just kind of stole. He said, you divorce the outcome and you marry the process. So, I love this. He said, keep living what you want people to do. So, and then you heard,
because people will follow what they see you do. That goes back up to the point near the top. They're going to do what they see you doing. So you have to walk the walk, not just talk the talk.
And also, this is so important. You can't want things for people more than they want it for themselves. So they will see that. We're not, and I'm guilty of it. We nobody wants a boss. Okay. Chris and I talk about this all the time. I failed in that area, because sometimes when you have something that people want and people need, you want them to want it more than they want it themselves. And so he said, consistency has to be implemented with the right tools and the right priorities. Okay. If your business, if you want this business to be successful, do you want it to take 3 to 5 years or 10 or more? And he said that. He said, you need to think about that. He said, once you find your gift and you start using it for others, stay with it. Stay consistent. He said, you need to be consistent at the right thing, at doing the right thing. We both kind of chuckled when he said that, because you have to know that this is a good thing. And he said this, actually, it was a recap of what he said before. Winners in business and winners being consistent never quit things that are good for them. They always go back and are consistent. It goes back to chopping the tree down. Did you want to say something? You good? You got it all covered? Okay, good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I don't know if some of you guys, we've got time for some questions or some comments of what you've heard. Next week, I haven't talked to Janice yet, but I will probably have her and myself come up with the next one. We just got it today. I don't even remember. Do you remember what it was today, babe? It was the law of environment. So next week, we will talk about the law of environment. So any questions? Anybody got any comments? If you do, just unmute yourself. Hey, Jay, what up? Hi, Janice. Janice, do you want to make some comments on this? I unmuted you.
There we go.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
I can. Go ahead.
I had some time to listen to some of the bonus videos, and Becky Burcell, who's been in network marketing for 15 years, had worked with John Maxwell with her organization, and John Maxwell gave them a rule of 5 that fits network marketing. So I thought I'd quick share that with everybody.
Go ahead.
You know, just instead of, doing things 5 times, as in 5 chops to the tree, he gave them 5 activities to do every day, day in and day out.
Awesome.
So the first one is to share and communicate. That's what our business is sharing and communicating information. So that's the first thing. And remember, these are daily activities. And Becky said, you can do all of these activities in just a few minutes, 15 minutes, and you could have accomplished them. But it's the consistency of doing all 5 activities every day. The second one is networking. You do something every day to meet new people. And she said she just laughs when people say, I've talked to everybody I know. And she says, I've been in this 15 years and I still haven't talked to everybody I know. So we have to every day do something that helps us meet new people, be intentional about meeting new people, networking. The third thing is training. And we, of course, have heard this over and over again from stage, from our uplines, everybody, and Eric Worre. Do something every day to improve your mind and your skill set. And that goes back to some of the things that you all were sharing, that you are consistently working to improve yourself, an action and a choice every day. Fourth is support. Support others and build your own support network. Do something every day to keep yourself from being in isolation and fostering the support system for your team, your organization on a consistent basis. And then the last thing is review your why every day. Whether it's looking at your dream board, whether it's looking at a note you've pasted on your bathroom mirror, and sometimes it's, do I need to update my why? Do I need to change my why? Because life changes, our circumstance changes. So the 5 things, the rule of 5 for network marketing is share or communicate. 2 is networking. 3 is train. 4 is support. And 5 is review your why every day so that it triggers you into action.
Awesome. And before we go, Janice, thank you for doing that. This is kind of what I took back. I kind of, you guys obviously know this. I usually pray after and here's what I thought. Daniel Bernard was, now think about it. If you're in my organization, which 95% of the people on here are, you would not be on this call today had Daniel Bernard not been consistent at sharing this information with me for about 4 or 5 months. And so not everybody has that way of just being able to find the right person. We're looking for people that are like-minded, but that only comes from consistency. So what I'm saying is that, if you're consistent and persistent at following these steps, I like what Janice said, we can make things, we can make February, finishing February and going into March, there's still a lot of stuff on the table for the company. So many people have ranked events this month already. So guys, it couldn't be a better time to be a part of LifeVantage. And so If does anybody else want to make a quick comment before I stop the recording? Okay, guys, you guys have an amazing, amazing day. If you haven't scheduled some launch calls, get with your upline, get with people in your group. I've been doing about 15 to 20 of them a week. I'm blown away at the process, how good and consistent they are for growing people's businesses. So we love you guys. We're grateful for all of you being on. We will see you next week. Have an amazing, amazing night and a great rest of your week.
Bye.
Bye.